wanted to work on, or specifically one thing that you wanted to work on was kind of tightening up your instruction and your focus. And you did a really good job of that. Once you were aware, and the nice thing is that you learn it, you've got it, you implement it. And it's just kind of, you took that on. And how do you feel? How's that going for you? Is that,
I think it's going better. I think, yeah, I definitely think that I've improved, and I'm kind of more in tune with the reality of what they can do, and the level that they're at, and not trying to get too heady with them.
Yeah. Well, I think you're knowing your kids. Now we're in mid-November, so you have a better
11 weeks. Yeah.
Right. You have more of a knowledge of your kids and where they're at.
Right.
And now you've kind of seen that. You've gotten accustomed to their age level versus where you came from. Your world was third grade. So now you're adjusted to their age and maturity level and what they can do cognitively and what they need. And you know them each individually better now. And then now your instruction, you've gotten that, I think, a little bit more tighter. So that's really working for you.
In my opinion, I don't know if that's true. But.
No, that's good. So if there were one thing that you would want to be coached on, or one thing that you feel like, okay, this is where I think that I'm doing okay, but I want some help with, I just want someone else to kind of look at me teach this, or look at me, my students, actually not you teaching, but your students, and how they're responding. Am I achieving my goal with them?
And
is there
all subjects in language arts?
It could be in any subject. Is there any particular area that you're really just wondering? I'm wondering if they're getting it. I'm wondering if the way I'm presenting it to them, if they're understanding the lesson.
Right.
Before we did it on I don't know if they're if I'm giving them too much.
Right.
So then we looked at your lesson, we tightened it up, and then we figured out that yes. So was there anything that you think maybe?
Right. Thanks. No, it's cool.
That's okay.
Thank you.
Teacher,
I know. Yeah. Oh yeah. What was I gonna say? I guess I just assessed them on a lot of the social studies of a read aloud that I was gonna do. That's going to be covering a lot of rhyming words and finding the rhyming words, and then really dissecting, almost like a word study. If it says, we've been writing, even the kids on their whiteboard, writing the words down and taking off the first sound, and really understanding that it's the ending sounds that make it a rhyme and that make it a poem. Okay. And we've been working a lot with poet, even though it's not really what we're supposed to be doing, but that's according to units. But we've been doing a lot of seasonal kind of poetry. Okay. So definitely was going to go.
Now, is this their first time with rhyming, or will it? Have they seen it?
They've seen it before. Yeah, definitely. But even how much they've seen it, a lot of kids, when I ask them specifically, what is the part in the word that's making it rhyme right now, they'll just point to random stuff. And so I want, my objective is to have them be like, it's these two letters are the same. It's ET here, it's ET here, but it's a B here, and it's a, it's a whatever to here. That's not the first sound. It's the second. These two sounds, the et. This is the et here and the et here, and that's why it rhymes. Because those two sounds are the same.
Did you do this today?
Yeah, we did this today. We can go over it again.
Oh, I was going to say, what if you covered, had one chart with the poem on it?
Okay.
And you did it as a shared reading.
Right. Okay.
And then...
they really liked this one, and they clapped, and they memorized it. Most of them memorized it later.
And then they go over this again, highlighting the sounds. And then you have another chart where these words are missing. Maybe it's... or you put the stickies over it.
Oh, I like.
And so now they have to know... what's the title? Down, down. What do we hear? Down, down. Yellow and... ooh, what's that sound? Brown. The leaves are falling all over
town. Okay.
So that... or you can even have just the first letter and just the rhyming part covered.
Oh, yeah.
So that they understand, oh, boys and girls,
we're going to write O-W-N again. Right. O-W-N again.
Yeah. So that to kind of just solidify the concept. And
I like that.
then you can go into the new poem, and then you can cover... day 2, cover the sounds. So that they understand it's the sound... as well as the letters.
And you can see we've been doing, we've been doing this for,
you
for a long time, but still getting, No, but I agree, and that's the whole thing with TK and what it's repeated read-alouds. It's repeated, and they love it. Yeah. They're like, read our favorite book, every day, which I thought was awesome, is they And then the kids, we've been talking about like kind of poetic language and not really I'm not saying similes, but you know what beautiful words they were using. And we were finding, you know, his fur was the color of breakfast toast.
Oh,
you know,
I like that.
Okay, and he's always there when I need him the most. So the breakfast toast, I go, oh, well, they didn't tell us what color that was, but what color is it? Oh,
Yeah.
brown, you know?
Yeah.
And so today I had a few students and something was falling down on the board. They said, it's falling down like a raindrop.
So they made that connection.
Yes,
though. That
I
is
know.
awesome.
And so they're starting to like, it's so cute. They're starting to really get like, you know, like
get into it.
fun with the
Remember how your
language.
kids
Yes.
got into personification?
Oh yeah, they're
they
so
get
into it.
into
Right.
it. If you make
If you're
the
into
learning
it,
fun-
then they're
right.
into it, right?
If you make it fun.
Right.
But I think I like the use of poetry.
Oh, yeah.
in all grades, but
Right.
especially in kinder and TK.
Right.
And I think you can do a lot of your close reading around poetry and hit your standards, hit what you're trying to do. So I think revisiting this poem would be awesome for tomorrow's lesson.
Okay.
Especially because your outcome
Right,
is
okay.
for them to know, find, and dissect
Right.
rhyming sounds, and knowing that the ending sounds are what make the rhyme.
Right.
So revisiting it,
Yes.
first you're doing it just for fun and just like you would in a close
Okay.
read. They're reading it for exposure, right?
Right.
Now you're taking them back to go deeper. And so by doing that and by covering up the rhyming sound and going back and having them, you know, just read it first
Right.
with it like this. Cover up the rhyming sound, read it again and see if they can still do it. And you trying to kind of not say it. And
Yeah,
then read
letting
it
them
again
take charge of it.
and asking them to add the letters that make that rhyming sound. So you're doing multiple reads,
Right.
which is close reading.
Yep.
You're reading for a more directed purpose, which is your outcome, knowing that. And then you could even have on a piece of paper or a typed up sheet for their assessment.
Right.
Maybe they try and put in the missing piece on their
That's
own.
what I was saying. I was thinking of them going back and getting their whiteboard and being
Yeah.
like,
Oops.
you know, kind of covering everything up and being like, okay, I'm gonna write the D on the board. You write the D.
Yeah, so
And
where
they
are you
like
gonna
to
go?
mimic and
Yeah. No,
they know
and-
the colors
Right.
and
And this is exposure. It's
Right.
not that you're going to say, oh my
mastery
God.
and
You know,
yeah, you're in.
your child did not reach.
right,
Blah, blah, blah.
right.
No, but I mean, we definitely, the purpose of pre-K is to send them into K so that K
Confident,
can
yeah.
send them out reading.
Oh, big time
So,
reading.
right.
Yeah.
So you're actually doing exactly right because you
Okay.
understand that I'm exposing them, I'm giving
Right.
this, and this is kind of my concepts of what I want them to understand. I want to see who's getting it
Right.
and who still needs some extra help. And so those kids that need extra help with this, they're a group. And they
Right.
can go with parents and work more on the
Right.
same poem or a different poem and look for these sounds. And maybe it is you have extra copies of this
Right.
worksheet for the kids that you know still aren't getting
Right.
it. And they do some more close work with that.
I guess I feel sometimes I'm putting the cart before the horse when the kids are still struggling with their name and I'm doing something like this.
Right,
You know, it's like
right.
it's like, okay, my priority should be just their name, but it's like I can't, you know, I've done just their name a million times and like we work
Right.
on just their name every day, but you know, it's like, you know, is this time, that's, I don't know,